All right, today we're going to talk about a man in the Bible who I will just say has some chutzpah. And that was Jacob. You already know the story about Jacob and Esau. I may do that later on, but this is the story that I am interested in talking about the emotions right now. And this is the one with Jacob, Laban, and his daughters, Rachel and Leah. Now, you know the story. And if you don't know the story, it's really interesting. You should go read it, okay? But Jacob had to work 14 years for both of those girls. He had to work 7 years for Rachel, 7 years for Leah. That's a lot of working. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, the point is, though, that Laban would just change his wages. He would say, okay, you can have all of the speckle, flock, and then God would bless him, and he would get all of the animals would be speckled, and then he would say, okay, well, I'm gonna take this speckled flock, and you can have all the streaked ones, and then God would bless Jacob, and all of them would become streaked. And God finally came to him and said, okay, it's time. Enough is enough. You can leave Laban, okay? And just go back to your land, because I've seen what he's done to you. And that is really important. Two things. What was his emotion? I would think that Jacob's emotion would be, it could have been spite. It could have been spite. You know what I mean? Because someone does it to you, keeps changing your wages, keeps changing everything they say about you. You could build up in yourself spite, but he didn't, because he was a good person. He kept doing the will of the Lord, which was to work. He worked hard, didn't he? Okay, and he also obeyed, because the Lord would tell him, okay, put the reef in there, whatever, and and he would do it, and he would be blessed. So he could have felt spite for Laban, because of course he changed his wages, 10 times. That's what he says. That's what it says in the Bible. But instead, he was still faithful. What he did was he just got his family. He says, time to go. Let's go. And the daughters were like, you know what? Let's go. And they left. Okay. But Laban, of course, went after him and could have done something bad, but he didn't. He, I think he got the fear of the Lord in him, you know what I mean? Because you don't mess with the Lord's people. Really, it truly. You do. All of that was so that Jacob could leave. He went into that land. Think about that. He went into that land with nothing. He was escaping from his brother, who was going to kill him if he had the chance. He was escaping from his brother, went into that land with nothing. He came out of that land with sheep and cattle and children and two wives. He went in with nothing and came out with everything. And that is a kind of theme. So if you feel like you've been taken advantage of, you need to read these stories, because they're there so that you know the power of God, because it's a theme that people go in with nothing and come out with everything if they are underneath the faithfulness of our God.
Oh, shucks.